when you see the danger hundreds of thousands have faced, you might wonder, how can parents risk it all with their children? Well, they told me that Syria is simply far worse, far more dangerous.
Nothing has captured this crisis like the picture that we began with last night, the 3-year-old Syrian boy.
But overall, it's the injustice. It's so unjust. I come from a legal background, and things that are happening you just couldn't believe would happen in this country today. You wouldn't believe it.
One thing that is difficult, that we were told when we first became visitors, is if we want to try and fix stuff, this isn't the role for us. We can't always fix what we're up against, but we can make a stand against it, and we can resist it, and we can say, not in my name. So there is that sense of we're offering friendship and befriending people, despite the system, yeah.
I'm always impacted by going to the centre. Sometimes when you drive up there, you sort of, before you get out of the car to ask permission to enter, I have sort of take a deep breath and say, here I am again, start again, do it again. It's always a challenge, always a challenge. But on the other hand, you know, people I've visited, I've done all sorts of things. I always say that I've had meals under coconut trees in Sri Lanka. I've walked the beaches of Algeria. I've done all sorts of things that I wouldn't have done otherwise, and yet I've done it all from right next to the runway at Gatwick. So,
seeing their mental health deteriorate so much, that's very distressing. In particular, I'm thinking of one man who was very, very ill, just couldn't cope with life. Eventually, he didn't even come to visit. He couldn't go out of his room. For months and months and months, the only time he came out of his room was to visit me. And then he even gave up on that, and he's still there. That's not nice. Sometimes, one man was deported back somewhere in Africa, and he rang me about 3 months later out of the blue. And he just said hello, just wanted to say hello, so that was nice, yeah.
Last night I had a phone call from someone I first visited probably nearly 10 years ago now, who wanted help with something. And so yes, I do keep in touch with them. I don't keep in touch with everyone. I think like most things in life, you make friends with certain people and you stay in touch with them. Other people you meet fleetingly and you quite enjoy their company or don't.
Some people have been deported and I haven't had any contact further, but some are currently out on bail, and I do have contact, and I have contact with people also through the Refugee Tales project too. So yes, we've got quite a little community of people that we're just saying, yes, we still have a care for you, and yes, keep in touch.
It often isn't. That's the problem, is to try and think about it. I think perhaps supporting someone through, you know, really difficult times, like someone who's ready to be removed or something like that, I find those really hard. But you think after the event, well, I have actually done something. I might have achieved something by witnessing. Sometimes you're only witnessing what's happening, but I think it might help.
Recent experiences are so desperate, and they quite often have nobody else to talk to, nobody else to support them, and you feel that you're helping in a little way just by being there and being able for them to talk to you, to ring you, to text you. That's why I go.
My first impression was very horrible. I was trafficked into the UK, so when I came, I didn't have any opportunity of being on my own. I was locked up for so many years before I finally escaped. It's very frustrating, very, very frustrating, and I think it's a waste of money. The 28 days that it's been campaigning on through this Gatwick Welfare Group, I think it's a reasonable time for somebody to be detained. Anything after 28 days, I think, is inhuman.
It can be quite scary actually from the first point of view, just going in there, because the doors are locked. I mean, you're going through about 4 or 5 locked doors before you can actually get to the visit room. You're rubbed down, I mean, you're searched. You have to take your shoes off, they look in your mouth, you know, it's quite an intensive scrutiny of you as a person. And then when you're in the visit room, sometimes you're meeting people who are very, very unhappy. They're scared, they can be suffering from mental illness. One's not scared for one's own self, but one it can be very distressing. And then you can walk out at the end of it, which is also distressing in itself, that you're leaving somebody behind who's in a very bad way.
Very helpful, very, very helpful, because I've been detained in the past and I never had any visitor in the various other detention centers till I came to Brook House, and that was the first time I had a visitor, and it has been very brilliant and very helpful, and that has made me to have a very good relationship with my visitor even till now.